Hello, we are back talking do and don't advice from top agents. And again, after a poll of top agents in central Iowa and what they wish they had been told as a rookie agent in their first year of the business, we already went through the do advice. Here's what they wish they'd been told not to do. Don't do these things. The first one is don't worry about knowing all the answers. Um, I think it's really easy for us to get into the idea that we've got to know everything in order to be perfect. We maybe get into a little analysis paralysis where we think we've got to learn to justify our place in this business. No, go out and get leads. Go out and find people that want to buy and sell property with you. And if you don't know the answer, don't worry. You may never know all the answers even 40 years from now when you're coming back to me for continuing education. Okay, I may not be around that long, but you won't ever know 1010% everything. You'll know a lot. You already know a lot. You'll grow from here, but don't worry about knowing all the answers. Rely on a mentor or someone that you can go and research and find out the answers. And if you don't know the answer, by the way, don't make one up just to validate yourself so that you don't, so because you're worried about looking bad. Here's what I would say is a great script that's worked for me is when someone asks a question that I don't know the answer to, I say, wow, that's a great question. Let me write it down or let me get it into my notes, send myself an email. Let me research that for you so I can get a great answer. And it's okay if I have that back to you by 6 o'clock tonight. And while I'm making notes of any questions about this property, what else can I add the list to research for us? And I just open it up to go back and do work and find out whatever else they need about the property. That's worked out really well for me. So that way it takes the pressure off of me saying, I don't know. And just saying, great question. Let me research it. I'll write it down. Anything else I can add to the list. That's worked really well for me. Next up is don't think that there's any such thing as a perfect transaction because they're not. I mentioned in the previous video, when we do these deals, there's a lot of working parts. We've got a buyer and a seller, or a tenant and a landlord. We've got a co-op agent. We've got lenders. We've got underwriters. We've got home inspectors, appraisers, co-op brokers, all the people, right? And that can make every transaction a little bit different. But if you're wondering if the perfect deal is out there, there really isn't. Some go really, really smoothly, and some feel like a dumpster fire. Hopefully, you got more smooth. So, those dumpster fires just help you learn. They don't become the straw that breaks the camel's back. So, we do look to do our best, but there's no such thing as a fantastic, put a bow on it transaction. There's just too many moving parts. Next up is don't assume, instead, ask lots of questions. As a rookie agent, have you ever heard of the phrase, there's no such thing as a stupid question? Well, you and I both know there are dumb questions out there. Absolutely. But when you're new in the business, especially, that is off the table. Please put your ego aside. And I've had agents ask me questions that were kind of, I thought Captain Obvious what the answer was, but their brain was not absorbing it as a real estate agent. And they no sooner asked the question and the light bulb went off. Guys, I love seeing new agents, the light bulb go off when you learn and you understand something. You are drinking from a fire hose when you get your license, learning so much content, especially content to pass that exam. I've got students that make over 700 flashcards sometimes. It's a lot of content just to study for the exam, then to get licensed, and then all the things that you've learned so far. It's a lot. You, like I said, I call that drinking from a fire hose. So sometimes our brains just can't absorb anymore. And if your head gets that space, it's okay. Please ask questions. I get so worried when I used to check in on new agents and ask how they were doing when I had them in a coaching program, and they'd ask me a really important question about a transaction they had going on. And the next thing I would ask was, what would you have done today, knowing that you have this really important thing going on in a transaction that you need help with? What would you have done if I hadn't called you? I just randomly called to check in on you today. What would you have done? And one piece of feedback that I used to get was, well, I didn't know who to call. And that really, really kind of broke my heart a little bit. Because if an agent, when they've got an issue, doesn't know who to call, that's a problem. And if you are sitting there right now thinking, gosh, I don't know who I would call either, that needs to be your first call to your broker after you finish this course. When I have questions, am I just calling you? Am I calling another mentor? Am I calling a staff person? Who can help me if I get into a jam? But you should have resources, and you should have multiple resources of people that are happy to help you. All you have to do is raise your hand and ask. So please do so. Don't let your ego get in the way. Please ask questions. Up next is don't overpromise. Don't make a promise to your clients or anyone else that you cannot keep. I would rather have you under promise and over deliver. But when you overpromise and then you don't meet the mark of expectations that you yourself set, you're going to have disappointed clients. Even though you did a really great job, you're still going to have disappointed clients. So please do not overpromise. Don't say something is going to happen when you're not in control of whether it's going to happen or not. Next up, and I like this one a lot, don't compare your business to anyone else's. Have you been doing this? Have you been working and working to get 2 or 3 deals going? Meanwhile, there is a rookie of the year that's done 5 to 7 million already in their first year. That's great, and you're great too. Don't forget that, but don't compare yourself to other people. I remember when I first got licensed, I got licensed with a woman whose husband was a builder. And of course, her first month in the business, she listed 20 new construction homes in a development that her husband was working in. And everyone said, oh, she only got that business because she's married to the builder. Well, of course, she got that business because she was married to the builder. That's why she got her license. And then everyone acted like she didn't work for it. Trust me, she worked for it. Real estate was going on in their household 24/7 because it was their marriage and it was their business. That was probably their pillow talk at night. Think about it. Everyone works hard, and it's really easy to see someone have success and want to duplicate it. And there's things that you can borrow from people to use in your business. But at the end of the day, you are uniquely you. And I've had people be jealous of my business, and I've wondered why. But it was because of a certain skill set I had that they didn't. You know what I mean? Just don't judge your insides to someone's outsides. You never know what's going on. Your business is your business. And as long as you're reaching your goals and you're leaving your purpose driven life of why you got your real estate license, that's what we care about. Don't worry about what the top producer is unless you want to be the top producer. Okay. Next up is don't be afraid to hire leverage. This one was interesting to me in the poll because it was a newer agent that had her business take off very quickly. And she said, I wish I'd hired a transaction coordinator before. Some of you with your brokerage, you've got access to transaction coordinators or someone that helps administer a little bit of help with the transaction on the backside. A transaction coordinator to me takes the file once you've gotten a contract accepted, and they help you. You're still in charge of it. They help you manage it until the day of closing. They do all the non-licensed necessary paperwork pushing that needs to happen to keep the deal on task and communicate with everyone. Some of you, like I said, have that provided with your brokerage. I know I've invested in one, And it was on average about $250 a transaction. At the time I'm making this video, at least. It could go up, obviously, in the future, but that is paid at closing. You don't owe that unless it closes. It's not like a higher salary. You've got to pay it whether you close or not. So a transaction coordinator is a great person if you're looking to make a first hire in your real estate business. I wish I had done it a lot sooner as well. Next up, don't get mad if friends or family work with another agent. Oftentimes this happens, the people that are really close to you that you think, I put them on that database that you talked about, Amy, and then they went out and they worked with another agent. I'm so disappointed. Guys, don't dwell on that. Go find another suspect that wants to do business with you. But just because they didn't do business with you directly for whatever reason, that doesn't mean that they won't still give you referrals. So please stay friendly with them because there's still a ton of potential there. Just for whatever reason, they maybe chose not to work with you directly. Don't hold that against them because, again, there's referral opportunities up there in the future. Last but not least is don't get emotional. Okay, let's be honest. Every once in a while, somebody's going to get emotional. I want you to keep those emotions between the lines. Don't go off and yell at people. Be careful with the words that you choose. If you feel like a conversation is getting escalated, don't go there. Take that trigger and say, here's the deal. I think we're at an opportunity where things are getting a little escalated. I respect what you're saying. I want you to respect what I'm saying. Let's just take a few minutes. Cool heads will always prevail. And then let's come back with our best ideas and resolutions. Take a break, take a breath, take a walk, right? But I know it's easy to get emotional. You want that check, you're fighting for your clients, they want that house, they need it sold, whatever the case may be. But you, as their real estate agent, are their anchor, and your emotions should not outshine anyone else's in the transaction. You are the neutral anchor that is there to guide them. Please act accordingly, right? I know you can do it. Hopefully, these do's and don'ts help. Again, they were all created by agents in Central Iowa that shared their best tips that they would want to know as if they were doing it all over again. And I'm hopeful it was helpful for you too. Thank you.